Good morning, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. You're watching our mid-morning edition of Arirang News on this Friday, July 24th. Coming to you live from studio in Seoul, I'm Shin Se-min. Before we dive right in, these are the stories we're following at the top of the hour. Major downpours in the southern part of the country have killed 3 and flooded parts of Busan. 1 person still missing after flooding in the city of Ulsan. We have the details on this deadly downpours. Another group of infections discovered on a Russian ship docked in the southeastern port city of Busan. 32 sailors tested positive for coronavirus, raising worries of a series of imported COVID-19 cases. Rising tensions between the U.S. and China. 3 Chinese nationals are under arrest for visa fraud in the U.S. for allegedly lying about their membership of China's armed forces. The FBI says it's seeking to arrest a 4th person who was said to be in China's San Francisco consulate. A new cluster of infection in Busan has been confirmed this morning. A total of 32 sailors have tested positive for coronavirus from a Russian ship docked in the port city. Busan's national quarantine station said a third of the 94 sailors from a Russian cargo ship tested positive for the virus. No further infections have been detected so far, except for 1 worker from a ship repair company who had boarded the ship and was later confirmed to have the virus on Thursday. Now, the latest cases follow cluster infections tied to Russia-flagged ships last month that put health authorities in Busan on alert. And from a total of 8 Russian ships, there have been 78 cases of the virus. 2 South Korean military planes sent to Iraq to bring back some 300 South Koreans are set to arrive at Incheon International Airport this morning. The KC-330 air refueling tankers left for Iraq on Thursday with 4 medical staff and 4 quarantine officials on board. Now, the government sent military planes on behalf of civilian aircraft because it'll take 2 weeks to prepare civilian aircraft. With the rescue planes, Seoul also sent 50,000 face masks to Iraq. And upon their return, the South Koreans who show symptoms will be tested at the airport, and those without symptoms will be tested after they are sent to temporary accommodation. And those who test positive will be sent to directly a medical facility. The rest will be put into a 14-day quarantine at designated facilities. It may take some time for life to return to a degree of normalcy in the United States. President Trump, addressing the nation at his daily coronavirus briefing on Thursday, said that some schools may need to delay reopening in the fall, softening his earlier tone on the issue. Here's Trump during the briefing.
In cities or states that are current hotspots, and you'll see that in the map behind me, districts may need to delay reopening for a few weeks, and that's possible. That'll be up to
President Trump also canceled the Republican convention that was due to be held in Jacksonville, Florida in late August, citing the seriousness of the outbreak in that region. He also asked Congress to provide $105 billion to schools as part of the next virus relief bill. President Trump's briefing came as another grim milestone was reached in the United States, with the total confirmed COVID-19 cases passing the 4 million mark Thursday, with a quarter of that coming in the last 15 days alone. Now, here's the official tally. At least 4.05 million cases have been confirmed by Johns Hopkins University, and over 143,000 have died. The reported count is also picking up speed, with the 7-day average of new cases already reaching 67,000 on Wednesday, a record so far. Back here in the nation, heavy rain warnings remained in place for parts of South Korea, and the torrential downpours turned deadly in late Thursday. 3 people died after being trapped inside a flooded underpass in the southern city of Busan. Our Lee Seung-jae with more.
On Thursday, the Korea Meteorological Administration issued heavy rain warnings for different parts of the nation, including Seoul, Gyeongsang-buk-do Province, and the southeastern port city of Busan. The latter was among the hardest hit regions, seeing over 80 millimeters of rain an hour, with Haeundae and Gijang pounded with over 200 millimeters overnight. The heavy rain also killed 3 people overnight when a 3.5-meter high underpass flooded, with 3 people unable to escape their vehicles. Firefighters rescued 8 others and whisked them to the hospital. Rescue operations also took place in other parts of Busan, including a hotel garage and the basement of a nursing home. Busan is experiencing one of its most intense monsoon seasons, recording 650 millimeters of rain in July, second only to 2009, when the city saw 866 millimeters. Other parts of the nation, including Gyeongsang-Bukdo Province, have also been hit hard. Yeongdeok saw 177 millimeters, Mungyang 157, and Gyeongju 144 millimeters. The Korea Meteorological Administration advises people living in mountainous regions to be especially careful, as the heavy downpours can cause landslides and flooding. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
And following up on that story, in the city of Ulsan, another part of the southeastern coast of the country, one person is still missing after being swept away late Thursday night by floodwater. We'll have more on that as we learn the details. U.S. President Donald Trump is again pressuring Washington's allies to pay a larger share in defense cost, reaffirming his position amid the stalled cost-sharing negotiations with South Korea. President Trump tweeted Thursday that he will make, quote, so-called allies pay tens of billions of dollars in delinquent military costs, adding they must treat the U.S. fairly. Amid reports of a possible reduction in the number of U.S. forces in South Korea, the Washington Post said this would help North Korea and China as they dream of minimizing Washington's presence and influence in East Asia. The United States has imposed an up to 52% anti-dumping tariff on South Korean PET sheet, which is widely used for packaging consumer products. The Korea International Trade Association says the U.S. Department of Commerce made that decision to impose an anti-dumping tax on 13 South Korean PET sheet producers, including SK Chemicals. It also said the South Korean firms had delayed inspection procedures by not providing important information. Last July, American PET sheet companies filed a complaint with the International Trade Center against foreign companies, saying they were hurting the domestic U.S. industry. The FBI has arrested 3 Chinese visa holders in the U.S. for their secret connection to the Chinese military. And a 4th remains on the loose, holed up at a Chinese consulate in California. Our Oh Jung-hee with the details.
The U.S. has arrested 3 Chinese nationals for visa fraud, while a 4th is believed to be under protection at a Chinese consulate. On Thursday, the U.S. Justice Department said the FBI interviewed members of the Chinese People's Liberation Army in over 25 cities across the U.S. and found they've been, quote, hiding their true affiliation to take advantage of the United States and the American people. The U.S. believes the 4 are secret members of the Chinese military posing as researchers in the U.S. The department says the 4th remains a fugitive staying at China's consulate in San Francisco. According to U.S. court filings, she is Tang Juan, who was issued a non-immigrant visa last fall as a biology researcher. The FBI later found photos of her in Chinese military uniform and questioned her, but she denied connections to the Chinese military and the Communist Party. The FBI alleges she then headed to the Chinese consulate in San Francisco and is still there. U.S. law enforcement cannot enter a foreign embassy or consulate unless invited. The latest arrests come at a time when tensions have escalated between the U.S. and China, especially as Washington increases scrutiny on economic espionage by Chinese citizens working in the U.S. In the court filings, U.S. attorneys said China is sending military scientists to the U.S., quote, with false covers about their true employment to copy and steal information from American institutions. Oh Jung-hee, Arirang News.
The head of the World Health Organization has rejected U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's claim that the WHO chief owes his lofty position to China. According to The Times and the Daily Telegraph, Pompeo told a private meeting of British lawmakers on Tuesday that the WHO has become a, quote, political body, saying its decisions were influenced by a deal struck between the WHO chief and China that helped him become its head. Pompeo added that people died because of the deal that was made, and when asked about the allegations, the WHO chief said they were, quote, untrue and unacceptable, adding that they are without any foundation. Aiming to become a global leader in space, China has launched its first Mars probe. If it successfully lands on the red planet, China will become the world's third country to succeed in landing a vehicle on Mars. Our Kim Hyo-sun with more.
China declared on Thursday that it has successfully launched an unmanned probe to Mars.
I now declare the launch of China's first Mars exploration mission a complete success.
The probe, named Tianwen-1 in Chinese, that translates literally into questions to heaven, is the country's first independent mission to another planet, and it highlights Beijing's desire to become a global leader in space. It blasted off with China's largest carrier rocket at 12:41 p.m. Thursday from a launch center on the southern island of Hainan and entered its expected trajectory at around 1:25 p.m. The probe, which consists of a combined orbiter, lander, and rover, will now begin its months-long journey in space and arrive at Mars in February 2021. Its primary mission is to look for signs of life on the red planet, aiming to answer questions like, is there life on the planet? Or how are the conditions and environment like in Mars? Beijing highlighted the mission is a scientific exploration and is not about competing with others, especially dismissing concerns on the possibility of increased frictions with the U.S.
This first mission to Mars is a scientific exploration project which is about using a space peacefully. It is doing a service for humanity. This project is not competing with anyone in particular. We're coordinating and cooperating with others. We would like to develop more international cooperation.
China's first mission to Mars was in 2011, which ended in a failure. So far, only the U.S. and the then Soviet Union have previously succeeded in landing a vehicle on the planet. Kim Hyo-sun, Arirang News.
South Korea's health authorities have issued a nationwide warning for Japanese encephalitis, urging the public to take precautions. The Korea Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said Thursday that they've witnessed an increase in the number of mosquitoes capable of carrying the virus in Busan. And to prevent mosquito bites, it is advising people planning outdoor activities to wear long-sleeve shirts and pants to cover up their skin and use mosquito repellent. While no cases have been reported in the country this year, the virus killed 6 people in South Korea alone last year.
Good morning. After typhoon-force rain and wind across the country on Thursday, things have eased except for East Coast regions as heavy monsoon rain is still falling at 30 millimeters an hour there. So we are expecting torrential rain possibly up to 400 millimeters, so be careful. Other regions will also receive 5 to 80 millimeters into Saturday. Heavy rain alerts are in place for the East Coast, while a strong wind advisory is also in place along the coast as well as for Jeju Island. So those of you flying to and from Jeju, Busan or Ulsan today, check your flight schedule in advance. Temperatures will remain on the cool side again, but daytime highs will be a couple notches higher than yesterday, ranging from 24 to 26 degrees Celsius in most parts. We won't see summer sunshine for the rest of July. Wet and murky skies will dominate, so let's all keep an umbrella handy. That's Korea for you, and here's the international weather for viewers around the world.
And that is a wrap for us at this hour. But our next news lineup is coming up at noon Korea time, so do join us again then. Thanks for watching and goodbye.